Erev Tov Chavrim, I'm Stephen Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live here. We are getting ready for the trip we are going to be on uh, starting tomorrow. We'll be en route, as again, we are not announcing where we are going. We will be filming live. You will be able to catch this coming Saturday on live stream. We will put it up so you will be aware of the time frame of the live broadcast. We will also record it for YouTube so that we can give you a little bit better idea of what's going on, where we're going to be at. We can tell you some things. We will be covering refugees, the things that are going on, because it's really spiraling out of control with the refugees and the things that are happening, things that police are not reporting on. We'll be covering different refugee camps throughout all of Europe. While we're on about a 2-week trip here. We will be trying to do our news broadcast daily. Some of it will be just as we're doing now on Capture, as well as we will get to cover a little bit of the Geneva Convention there, the supposed peace talks that they're doing with the Syrian government to try to bring it to an end of the conflict there. Of course, as we have talked about before, Putin cannot afford to allow Bashar al-Assad to go out of power, because then he would lose the oil contract that the Russian state oil company has with the Syrian government there, because if the United States gets their way and get their own people in, they're going to make null and void the contract that Putin has with the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad. That's a major issue going on right there, and of course NATO has got a lot of pressure on Russia there. Big chances of a war breaking out there as well. But a very serious broadcast here that we have seen today, just moments ago, as well as Lisa Haven has covered this on Before It's News. But RT News, they have a recorded statement here of a young lady here that was there in the vehicle of Mr Finicum, who was gunned down with his hands in the air by federal agents. There's been conflicting reports about what has actually happened, but as they were trying to go out, they were stopped at roadblocks. There were federal agents, marshals, everything in the trees, on the side, in the cars, and he got out of his car. He has his hands raised, according to this young lady's testimony. She said, though, he did say, if you're going to shoot me then. And with the moment he said that, they just unloaded on this man. Many, many shots fired. The car was riddled. The testimony of this young lady says probably an estimate of 120 shots were fired. They were wounded in the car. She said they were kept in the car for about 5 minutes as well. But Finicum was the only man that was wounded. I want you to hear a little bit of this lady's testimony right now, so that we can get this recorded all over the world. Federal agents have certainly gone completely out of control. It's like another Waco incident right here. And again, I'm not siding with Mr. Bundy, Ammon Bundy, and what he did by taking over this federal facility there. But it is certainly an overkill of power by the federal government to gun down people with their hands up. She said they had their hands out the window of the car, showing that they were not touching any guns, not pulling any guns on anyone. And she said no one of these protesters ever pulled a gun whatsoever. But the agents unloaded more than 100 rounds into the car, at the car, etc. There's definitely going to be a lot of cover up. She did give permission for the news person here to actually record her statement. He was recording it. He tells her afterwards. She says, okay, I understand. So we want to share this as well to make sure it does go on record around the world, everywhere, to know that the federal government is completely out of control. Again, we do not support the actions of Mr. Bundy either for what he did, because it was, if you're going to protest, peacefully protest, but to take over a federal building certainly puts yourself at a great risk, and then everyone being armed on top of it. One other thought, and I'll share this with you at the end of this broadcast. We want to thank several people, including Brother John Holbrook with the Antenna Farm. Brother Holbrook is in Montana. He runs a business there where he sells all types of ham radio operated equipment I think it's something very good to get. Brother Holbrook actually sent us here to Europe the complete setup here. Let me just see if I can't just show you some of this here that he sent to us here. But Brother Holbrook sent us everything we have need of: portable antenna, ham radio, power boosters, the books on how to do all of this, speakers, microphone, everything you can think of. And I really just, I owe a great gratitude to Brother Holbrook for being so kind to do that for us there. Just from his own heart, he wanted to do that. And oddly enough, I just had a sister in Europe ask me if we did any broadcasts on the ministry on ham radio. I'll be learning how this all works. As a kid, I used to do this a little bit, but it's been long years. I don't remember how. But I encourage you, though, if we are able to actually do our broadcasts via the ham radio system, we're planning on getting this up and going as well, especially in light of what's happening in America now with this case here, with the Bundy case. Federal government's definitely going to crack down. Martial law may soon come in. And guys, you may not be able to hear us on the internet much longer. So it may not be a bad idea if this is something that you can fit into your own budget. I know there's different types of systems. Perhaps we'll be able to stay in communication like this via ham radio broadcasting all over the world. I will get more information if you guys know about that. You might be able to write me as well. Again, I'll put Brother Holbrook. I'll put it in the section there underneath the video there, where you can add the subject in there about the video. I'll place his website there for you. He is a wonderful Christian brother, him and his wife and their children there, precious family that just has a wonderful heart for the Lord there. Again, just thank Brother Holbrook. And also, and this is not all that we have here, but Brother Sister Dutra there from Lakeville, Maine, I want to thank you for helping us in this trip here. Many of you online have done that. My wife generally thanks people there. Sister Emma there from Resda, California. Thank you. God bless you, my sister, as well. I have one here, but I don't see where they are from. Maybe on the inside it has that. Also Holman from Toronto, Canada. Want to thank you as well there. Actually, on this one that I got here, there was no address where it actually come from. Must have been in Europe here, though, because this stamp there looks like Belgium, perhaps there. Thank you, and God bless you as well for helping us on this trip here. And we're certainly hoping it's going to be a blessing. Let's get right to this situation, though. I want you to hear the testimony of this eyewitness account. Her name is Victoria Sharp. I know it's a little difficult possibly to hear her, but she speaks about this. This is on January the 26th, 2016, when federal agents killed Mr. Finicum, Lavoy Finicum.
I can talk to the sheriff right now. He's like, you call us there, that's fine. He's like, but we're talking to the sheriff because we can put a bullet through my head right now and get it over with, or we're going to talk to the sheriff. And they were like, no, and so then they're like stepping it up, and a bunch more guys are coming out, and they're all pulling their guns out. And they were like, we have women in the car. We have, because there's me and this other lady in the car that I don't know real well. But we have women in the car. They said, get the women out of the car. Get the women out of the car. And they were saying they're going to shoot. And Ryan Payne was like, he was in the front seat. Ryan Payne is amazing. He is incredible. But anyhow, so he was like, he said he put his hand out the window because he was trying to talk to them. He was like, if he wanted the guy to get, he's like, I don't know if it's worth it. He's like, so he put his hands out the window and he said, we have women in the car, at least let the women get out. And he stuck his head out and they shot at him, but they missed him. Or like,
Let me just tell you what she said there, in the event you did not hear her. By the way, this is a photograph of Mr. Finicum right here in the cowboy hat there. I'm not sure, I don't think the sister that's speaking about what happened, that's actually her there. But anyway, she said he's trying to get the officers, the federal agents, to allow the women to get out of the car because there are women in the car. He stuck his head outside the window of the vehicle, and when he did, they fired at him then, but missed him. Let's continue on.
Just in time. So they didn't hit him. And then they're like, oh, they mean business. They're going to shoot us.
He says then to the people in the car, he says, oh my God, oh, they mean business. They're going to shoot us.
So Ryan decided to get out of the car and try to go talk to them. And so he gets out of the car, and then the guy tried to talk to them. The driver was like, I'm just going to drive, so I'm just going to talk to the sheriff. And he's like, so either shoot me now or leave us alone. And they were just like, turn the car off and put your hands up on it. So finally, he decided to just drive. So we all got down on the floorboard, and he drove off, and then they started firing at us. They started shooting us a bunch of times, and then they had a roadblock set up.
Now, if you, just in case you're not understanding what she's saying here, she makes a statement there that he gets out of the car. He's trying to go up to talk to them. He has his hands up in the air the entire time. He says, we're trying to go and talk to the sheriff about this. At that time, they began to lay down in the floorboard of the car, and then they just began to fire at him and at the car as well.
And so he ran into a snowbank, and they were riddling the car with bullets. And then when we crashed, they stopped for a second. He got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, unless, he's like, just shoot me then. Just because you want to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. They shot him right there because he was just walking with his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God, he was just walking with his hands in the air.
Now, supposedly, somehow or another, they crashed into a snowbank there, and he got out of the car, and he said, if you just want to shoot me, then just shoot me then and get it over with. And, of course, they did. They unloaded on him. This young lady actually says she saw that with her own eyes, his hands in the air when they began firing, and they shot and killed him dead on the spot there with his hands in the air. This is totally absurd. I have never in my life, even the years that I was in law enforcement, ever seen such a horrible display of abuse of force. It has totally gone completely out of control. And you want to talk about a cover-up that's going to be done. No doubt a major cover-up by the federal government is going to be done on this case. They're going to have their own angle of this story, and it's not going to be what this lady's saying here. In fact, the man that recorded this statement from her is very concerned that they may do something to her as well. It's just not good. Let's listen a little bit more here, guys.
And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, shot him 3 more times. And then
after he's on the ground, they shoot him 3 more times. I mean, this is absurd.
They bombarded our vehicle with bullets flying that hit the shoulder. We were screaming on the floorboard, screaming, and they gassed us 5 times, and they kept trying to shoot us, and their angle was bad, so I don't know, we were praying so hard, and we were cheering stop, please, stop, and they were just riddling us with bullets. They kept gassing us over and over, and we couldn't breathe because of the gas, and we were trying to find something white so that we could put a white flag out, and then I was trying to see, because Ryan knew he got hit in the shoulder, so he was like, well, I don't think it's too bad, though. So we were just trying to find a way to get out there. And then they, hold on, I'm waiting.
You know, it seems like to me the whole point that they are trying to do here, they were hoping to kill everybody in the car. They didn't want any witnesses. And but I'm sure with that many agents there too, you know, there's a danger of somebody speaking out. I do know in the when it comes to these type of people, agents, policemen, there's a brotherhood here, and unfortunately, it's very rare that you ever have an honest one among them. And to get this situation to be kept hush-hush is not very hard when you have something like that. Anyway, this is a very sad situation indeed that's going on there that just happened. The Oregon standoff has ended. Bundy, Ammon Bundy, I believe, is in custody. I do not think that he was actually killed. Thus far, it's been stated that only one person was killed, and that was Mr. The gentleman right here, Lavroy, I believe was his name there. Very, very sad situation, to say the very least there. Let me just back up here on the article. Victoria Sharps is the young woman who was in Finicum's truck. The rancher had his hands in the air when he was shot. He was just walking with his hands in the air and they shot him dead, Sharps said, adding his hands were still up after he was dead. Finicum was shot at least 6 times and 3 more times after he fell, she said in an account posted on YouTube shared by Bundy Ranch Facebook page there. It's deplorable, very deplorable the way this situation. I knew that it would not go down well. I just felt in my own heart this was not going to end well. Oh my gosh, very saddening, friends, very sad indeed there. Anyway, I know there's other things that are going on. This just has kind of got me a little upset about the way this case was handled there. And, you know, but there are more things that are going on in the world there. We'll be getting back up with you on that. Again, we are working still very diligently. I have a feeling it's going to take me a few days to get this subject done on the Planet X. I will even take the computer I'm working with this on because it's a very lengthy file there. And I think it's a subject that's worth looking into. We also got a report here that the CIA has released X-Files on aliens flying saucers for Agent Mulder to use. That's kind of funny there. We'll have to see what that's all about there. Anyway, check out RT News. That's where I was actually looking at this information at here, guys, just so that you can see what's going on. As well in Israel, there continues to be stabbing attacks constantly there in Israel. Things have not slowed up a little bit, I might add, but still we still have a third intifada, and just does not seem like there is going to be any ceasing in sight at all. And of course, women have really become a major target of these terror attacks done by the Palestinians, and just very, very serious situation all over the world globally. We are in a serious, serious situation there. And can I help but wonder what is going to happen with Russia right now and the things that are going on there. I just have no idea there. Russian diplomat accuses U.S. of pushing Europe towards confrontational war. This is another big issue too, by the way. And for those of you that may not know, Vladimir Putin stated clearly recently that he is not, or his biggest concern right now is Ukraine. And I can understand why. We have really shared with people how that the government, the United States government, has really lied to the American people. That's the Obama administration. They were sending in heavy equipment long before Russia pledged to build 40 more intercontinental ballistic missiles there. And President Putin has said straight out he will use them if he feels like he cannot win a ground offensive. And he is outmanned when it comes to a ground offensive. But he does have the ability to get those nuclear bombs where he wants them with the supersonic system that he has, and is practically unstoppable. On TASS Russian News, it says here the updated strategy of the U.S. Army commander in Europe is perplexing. Alexander Grushkov, Russian permanent representative to NATO, said in an interview with Rossiya 24 television news channel on Wednesday, what the United States is doing is an attempt to push the world and Europe into a confrontational war, which should remain in the past. The Russian diplomat said it in its updated strategy, the ECOM called deterrence of Russian aggression its top priority. The document was published at the EUCOM websites on Wednesday. This document cannot but cause enormous bewilderment. What is absolutely surprising is that the document, which enumerates various risks and security threats, postulates directly that command's main task is to advance the U.S. vital interests from Greenland to the Caspian Sea, Grushko said. Numerous questions are immediately coming to mind. On the one hand, the United States says it will not tolerate the world's division into spheres of influence, but on the other hand, it declares itself a global player which considers the entire region to be exclusively a sphere of influence, Russia's permanent representatives to NATO said. Russia is named as the main threat, which should be deterred from launching aggression in the Eastern Europe. It is simply impossible to comment on this assertion, which is absolutely detached from reality, the Russian diplomat said. Let me just share something with you as well. This is information I got just today, in fact. Just today. I spoke with a young man. I know the young man personally there. He has a patient that is a Russian woman from Donbass out of Ukraine. She stated that when Donbass was being attacked, this has been not too long ago, and I don't know if it was weeks or whatever it was, but when Donbass had come under attack, that it was no doubt in her mind these were U.S. soldiers there, not Ukrainian soldiers. She said every one of them spoke fluent English. And this is, she says, you know, people are saying that the Russians have sent in troops into this part of Ukraine. And she said it's not true. She said it is the United States that has sent in troops, and it's not Ukrainian troops that are fighting against the self-proclaimed Donbass Republic there. Of course, she doesn't know anything about Luhansk, what's going on there, but as far as Donbass, she is from there, and she said, we saw them, we know how they speak English perfectly, and this is definitely not Ukrainian soldiers. So we have got another confirmation that it is true. That's another place we'd like to get to that may open up eventually where I can get into that region of the world as well to cover some of the things that are going on there. But it's very sad to say. And again, we also saw too, the United States is now saying, Barack Obama's administration is saying that Afghanistan is definitely the long haul. They're not taking troops out of Afghanistan. Now, if you will look at this strategically, every place that the United States is professing to stay is again surrounding the Russian nation. They are trying desperately to totally obliterate the Russian nation and the Russian people there. They're going to push Vladimir Putin into a war, especially if he doesn't bow and obey the Pope of Rome. And I could use a little bit more vivid words there, but it wouldn't be very nice, and as well as bowing down and showing his allegiance to Barack Obama. That would be an insane thing to do. So I know Putin has his own agendas, his own interest, but you know, like he's made it very clear. He said our own international interests should be taken into consideration, but they're not going to. Anyway, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Shalom. God bless you, and be praying for us on this trip. It is a serious trip that we will be on. Very serious news that we want to bring to you, to share with you the things that are really happening in the world. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. Good evening.